At 67, Marcia stared at her cluttered living room and broke down crying. Boxes from her late husband's belongings, mixed with decades of accumulated items, created a maze she just couldn't navigate. Meet Marcia, a retired teacher from Ohio who lost her husband of 40 years 2 years ago. Like many seniors dealing with grief, health challenges, or simply feeling stuck, she found herself surrounded by a lifetime of possessions that felt impossible to tackle. The depression made even simple tasks feel mountainous. Maybe you're dealing with downsizing, pressure from family, health issues that limit your mobility, or emotional attachments to items that hold precious memories. Here's what most decluttering experts don't understand about seniors. Traditional advice doesn't work for us. We need approaches that honor our emotional connections, work with our physical limitations, and respect our pace. The 5 steps I'm sharing today aren't about perfection. They're about progress and peace of mind. Have you felt overwhelmed by clutter, but couldn't find the energy to start? Drop a comment and let me know what's holding you back most. I read every single one and often reply personally. Step 1. The 5-minute miracle method. Forget those marathon decluttering sessions you see on television. When you're unmotivated or depressed, the thought of spending hours sorting through belongings feels impossible. That's where Marcia's breakthrough came. The 5-minute miracle method. Here's how it works. Set a timer for exactly 5 minutes and choose just one small area. Not a whole room, not even a whole closet. Think one drawer, one shelf, or one corner of a table. Marcia started with her nightstand drawer. In those first 5 minutes, she found expired medications, old tissues, and 3 pens that didn't work. The key insight? Those 5 minutes gave her a sense of accomplishment without exhaustion. The magic happens in your brain. Completing small tasks releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that depression often suppresses. Why this works specifically for seniors? Our energy levels fluctuate throughout the day, especially if we're dealing with health issues or medications that affect our stamina. The 5-minute method respects these limitations. You can do it first thing in the morning, when you might have more energy, or even from a comfortable chair if mobility is an issue. Marcia's success secret? She kept a victory journal where she wrote down what she accomplished each day, no matter how small. Day 1. Clean nightstand drawer. Found my reading glasses. Day 3. Sorted through medicine cabinet. Threw out 8 expired bottles. These small wins began building momentum. The beauty of this method is that it's failure-proof. Even if you only managed 3 minutes, you've still made progress. Some days Marcia would get energized and continue for 10 or 15 minutes, but she never pressured herself. The consistency of showing up for those 5 minutes created a habit that eventually transformed her entire home. What's one small area in your home that's been bothering you? Tell us in the comments. Sometimes just naming it helps us take action. Step 2. The memory box strategy. This is where most decluttering advice fails seniors completely. We're told to be ruthless and let go of everything. But our possessions often carry decades of memories, love, and identity. Marcia's biggest struggle wasn't the junk. It was her husband's reading glasses, their wedding china, and boxes of letters from their children. These items felt impossible to part with, creating emotional paralysis. The memory box strategy changes everything. Instead of forcing yourself to decide keep or toss for sentimental items, you create a beautiful designated space for the most precious memories. Marcia bought 3 attractive storage boxes, one for each decade of her marriage. She labeled them our early years, raising the kids, and golden years together. Here's the process. When you come across an item with emotional significance, just ask yourself, does this represent a memory I want to revisit? If the answer is yes, it goes right into the appropriate memory box. But if it's simply taking up space without any real meaning, well, it can go. The key thing here is to set a physical limit. When the box is full, you're done. This little rule helps prevent those memory items from taking over your entire space. Marcia discovered something quite beautiful through this process. You see, many items she thought were too precious to touch actually brought her joy when they were properly stored and, occasionally revisited. She even created a little ritual of going through one memory box each month, which turned into a real source of comfort, rather than just overwhelming clutter. For the items that didn't make the memory box cut, Marcia found meaningful ways to honor them before letting go. For example, she photographed her husband's favorite shirt before donating it so she could keep the memory without needing the physical item. She also gave his tools to their grandson, creating new memories around old possessions. The psychological benefit for seniors is honestly quite profound. You're not throwing away your life or being disrespectful to the past. Instead, you're curating your most precious memories and, creating space for new experiences. This method really acknowledges that our belongings often represent relationships, achievements, and identity, things that matter deeply as we age. What's one item in your home that holds special memories but creates clutter? Go ahead and share your story below. You might just inspire someone else who's struggling with the same thing. Step 3. The energy mapping technique. As we age, our energy patterns change dramatically. Marcia, for example, noticed she felt most motivated around 10:00 in the morning, but was exhausted by 3:00 in the afternoon. Most decluttering advice ignores this reality, which can lead to frustration and abandoned projects. The energy mapping technique is all about aligning your decluttering efforts with your natural rhythms. For 1 week, Marcia tracked her energy levels every 2 hours on a simple scale of 1 to 10. She discovered her golden hours were 10:00 in the morning to noon, and, surprisingly, 7 to 8 in the evening after dinner. Armed with this knowledge, she scheduled her 5-minute sessions during those peak energy times and used low-energy periods for easier tasks, like sorting through magazines or organizing items she had already decided to keep. The technique goes deeper than just timing. Marcia learned to match tasks to her energy levels. High-energy times were perfect for physical tasks like moving boxes or cleaning out closets. Medium energy periods worked well for decision-making about what to keep or donate. Low-energy times became perfect for the gentler work of going through photos or organizing paperwork while sitting comfortably. Weather and health factors also played a role. On days when arthritis made her hands stiff, Marcia focused on larger items that didn't require fine motor skill. Rainy days, which often affected her mood, became perfect for indoor tasks like organizing drawers. Sunny days energized her for bigger projects like cleaning out the garage. The breakthrough came when Marcia stopped fighting her natural rhythms and started working with them. She realized that some days her body was telling her to rest, and that was okay. She built rest days into her decluttering schedule, removing the guilt that often accompanies low energy periods. This approach is especially crucial for seniors dealing with chronic conditions, medications that affect energy levels, or just the natural changes that come with aging. By honoring your body's signals, rather than forcing yourself to work against them, you create sustainable progress that doesn't lead to burnout or discouragement. Marcia's energy mapping revealed another insight. Emotional energy was just as important as physical energy. Days when she felt sad or overwhelmed weren't good for dealing with sentimental items, but perfect for tackling straightforward tasks like organizing cleaning supplies or sorting through old magazines. So, when do you feel most energized during the day? Understanding your natural rhythms could be the key to finally tackling that clutter. Let us know in the comments what time of day works best for you. Step 4. The gentle sorting system. Traditional decluttering creates 3 piles: keep, donate, throw away. For seniors, especially those dealing with depression or attachment to possessions, this black and white approach feels brutal and often leads to decision paralysis. Marcia would stare at items for minutes, unable to choose, which made the process emotionally exhausting. The gentle sorting system introduces a 4th category that, changes everything. Maybe later. This takes away the pressure of making permanent decisions and recognizes that honestly, some days you're just not quite ready to let go of certain things. Marcia's system used 4 containers: a definitely keep basket, a donut box, a trash bag, and of course, a maybe later bin. The maybe later category became Marcia's emotional safety net. Items that just felt too hard to decide about went there for a while, taking away the stress of having to make a final call right then and there. She would revisit these items every 2 weeks, and, surprisingly, a lot of things that once felt impossible to part with became much easier to let go of after a bit of time and distance. Here's the gentle approach that really worked. Instead of asking herself, "Do I need this?" which can honestly create a bit of anxiety, Marcia asked, "Does this add value to my life right now?" That subtle shift acknowledged her current reality rather than forcing her to try and predict what she might need in the future. For example, a decorative bowl she hadn't used in years might not add value to her life at the moment, even though it's still perfectly functional. The system also included time limits for decision-making. If Marcia couldn't decide about an item within 30 seconds, it automatically went to maybe later. This, prevented the emotional spirals that often derail decluttering efforts. The goal wasn't perfect decisions. It was progress and peace of mind. The breakthrough insight here is that decluttering doesn't have to be about permanent, irreversible decision. Marcia realized she could always retrieve something from donation if she truly missed it. But in 2 years of using this system, she never once wanted something back. The permission to change her mind actually made it easier to let go. So, what's your biggest challenge when trying to decide whether to keep something? Is it the fear of regret? Or maybe emotional attachment? Share your thoughts below. Understanding what stops us is the first step to moving forward. Step 5. The celebration ritual. This final step is what most decluttering advice completely misses. Yet, it's crucial for seniors who need to maintain motivation over time. Marcia discovered that without celebrating her progress, she quickly lost steam and returned to old patterns. The celebration ritual? Well, it transforms decluttering from a dreaded chore into a rewarding journey. Marcia's ritual began with documenting her progress through photos. She took before and after pictures of each small area she tackled, creating a visual record of her achievements. On days when she felt discouraged, she could look back at these photos and see real proof of her progress. The visual evidence was powerful. Our brains often minimize our accomplishments, but photos don't lie. The celebration went beyond documentation. For every 5 areas she completed, Marcia treated herself to something special: a new book, a favorite meal, or a call to an old friend. These weren't expensive rewards. They were meaningful acknowledgments of her hard work. She learned that celebrating small wins was just as important as celebrating big ones. Marcia also created a Freedom Fund jar. Every time she completed a decluttering session, she put $5 in the jar. After 3 months, she had enough money for a weekend trip to visit her sister, something she'd been putting off. The physical act of putting money in the jar reinforced the positive feelings associated with decluttering. The ritual included sharing her success with others. Marcia called her daughter after each major milestone, not to boast, but to maintain accountability and receive encouragement. She also started a small group with neighbors who were facing similar challenges. They met monthly to share progress and support each other, turning a solitary task into a community effort. Most importantly, Marcia learned to celebrate the emotional victories alongside the physical ones. The day she could walk through her living room without navigating around boxes was worth celebrating. The morning she woke up feeling peaceful in her bedroom instead of overwhelmed by clutter was a victory. These emotional milestones often meant more than the physical transformation. The celebration ritual also included honoring what she was releasing. Instead of just throwing things away, Marcia created meaningful send-offs for items that had served her well. She thanked her husband's old suits before donating them, and she took photos of furniture before it went to new homes. This gratitude practice helped her let go with love rather than regret. For seniors, celebration is particularly important because it counteracts the depression and discouragement that often accompany major life changes. Acknowledging progress, no matter how small, releases the same brain chemicals that help combat depression and build motivation for continued effort. How do you celebrate your accomplishments, whether it's decluttering or any other challenge? Sharing how you reward yourself might inspire others in our community. Tell us in the comments below. 6 months after that tearful day in her cluttered living room, Marcia invited her family for Thanksgiving dinner. Her daughter walked in and gasped, not at the mess, but at the transformation. The space was clean, organized, and filled with only the items that truly mattered to Marcia. Her favorite photos were displayed beautifully, her husband's memory honored in a special corner, and the overwhelming chaos had been replaced by peaceful order. But, the real transformation wasn't in her home. It was in Marcia herself. She felt proud of her space again, energized by her accomplishments, and confident in her ability to maintain her new lifestyle. The depression that had made simple tasks feel impossible began lifting as she experienced daily victories. She started inviting friends over again, began new hobbies, and even started volunteering at the local library. The gentle approach had worked where harsh methods had failed. By honoring her emotions, working with her energy levels, and celebrating every small victory, Marcia had created lasting change that felt sustainable and joyful rather than punishing. If Marcia's story resonates with you, you're not alone in this journey. Thousands of seniors have used these 5 gentle steps to transform their homes and their lives. The key is starting small and being patient with yourself. Which step will you try first? Let me know in the comments below. I personally read every comment and often reply with additional encouragement and tips. If this video helped you see decluttering in a new light, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might need this gentle approach. Your share could be exactly what someone needs to take that first step toward a more peaceful life.